have the Bengals. You're a history buff. Last year, they lost to the Steelers first go round. They lost to the Browns first go round. They lost to the Ravens first go round. So let's see. And then they won all 3 games on the second half of the season. And we have Thursday night football. Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals coming off a loss they feel like they should have had. Maybe they were looking forward to this game where they had their eyes on potentially taking the division lead. However, Joe Burrow had 2 ugly interceptions. Tyler Boyd drops a touchdown. CJ Stroud is able to make magic and start his MVP campaign and Rookie of the Year campaign towards the end of the year. But this is a early game where if one of these teams loses, you could set yourself back. It feels like 2 or 3 games, especially in the standings, what it means for you in your division. So overall, gut check. We have the Ravens at home at 3.5-point favorites. Both of these teams lost last week. So it's a 2-game loss streak and one in your division. So it feels like losing 3 or 4 games if you lose this one. What the hell's going to happen?
Yeah, and I mean, if history repeats itself, as it often does, I think this is a game that the Bengals can win. 2 teams that have great defenses. The Bengals really starting to piece things together offensively. They will most likely be without T. Higgins, but Tyler Boyd, Trent Irwin, Jamar Chase, you probably heard of those guys. They're getting it going. Even Joe Mixon has been getting it going in recent weeks. And the Ravens, they are a great team. There's no doubt about it. Top 5 defense in the NFL, and that offense is no slouch either. That being said, the Bengals have a little bit more desperation at this point as they are currently 5-4. And not only do they want to make the playoffs, but they also want to win this division because it makes things a lot easier when playoff time does come around. So with that being said, they feel like they were slighted in Houston. They come to Baltimore. And let's not forget also in years past what Joe Burrow has done to this Baltimore Ravens defense. 2 games where he threw for 500 yards. Now, that defense was not this defense. And whether that repeats or not, I doubt it. However, I think this is a game that the Bengals will win on Thursday Night Football at on the road against the Ravens. The Ravens have been playing great football. However, Lamar Jackson has been turning the ball over as well. He has as many turnovers as he does have touchdowns as well. They don't necessarily need to lean on Lamar Jackson. However, if he is going to be turning the ball over, I think this is the game that the Bengals will win. I think the spread is pretty accurate. I do think this is determined by a Evan McFearless field goal to win the game. I have the Bengals winning in like a 21-18 sort of game.
21-18. Yeah, these Thursday night football games have been ugly. Typically, we see teams get out to a slower start. Ravens really thrive, though, when they get the lead. This is a team that needs to front run and then lean on the run game. They don't want to be coming back where Lamar Jackson has to throw them back into the game. So I think the Bengals understand that, and then they're going to be leaning on that first drive. They came out versus Houston, were able to score the first drive, came out versus Buffalo and scored that first drive. Just had 2 games at home, but this is desperation. This is the Bengals Super Bowl. You're looking around, Joe Burrow's like, this is a must-win game. He has to put the team on his back. You can't throw 2 careless interceptions like you did at the end of the Houston game. You can't take this team lightly, and this is a game, if you don't win it, you may not make the playoffs because you're going to be 5-5. You have the Houston Texans who now have the tiebreaker over you. And unless something drastically changes with the Baltimore Ravens or Cleveland Browns, this isn't a must-win game for the Baltimore Ravens. They'll still be in the playoff picture. Bengals are currently out of it right now, so I have to go with the team that's more desperate. I have to go with Lou Anarumo, who is a great defensive coordinator. I do think he has the remedy for the problem that is Lamar Jackson, and I think the formula is simple. Score first in this game, and then let your defense carry you. And then Jamar Chase is going to be on one in this game. This is where you have to come up, show out, and shine when the lights are brightest. I think the Bengals are going to be able to do it. And since they have to win this game, I'm going to pick them to win this game. I think Joe Burrow will be able to get it done. But I do think it's going to be a dogfight. I just think Cincinnati comes out, get that first score right away, quiet the crowd, and then let your defense carry you through this game. Don't turn the ball over too much. And I think Lamar Jackson's fourth quarter problems will be a problem in this game because the Ravens are a team struggled in the fourth quarter last year, and then they also struggle at the second half of the season, albeit without Lamar Jackson. But This is a team that blew some pretty big leads to the Jags last year, blew a big lead to Tua's Miami Dolphins, and now you blew a lead to the Colts, blew a lead to Kenny Pickett and the Steelers, blew a lead to Deshaun Watson. What do you think Joe Burrow's going to do to you? Like, that was Deshaun and Amari Cooper. This Bengals team is a whole different level of offense, so I think it's a must-win game. So this is honestly going to be to the level of an AFC championship game, though. Like, this is what point we're at in the football season where both teams are going to be desperate, but I think the Bengals just a little bit more desperate.
Yeah, I'd agree. Definitely desperation times for them. They don't want to fall to 5-5. They want to make the wild card. And this is the division where the Steelers are winning these games. The Browns are playing good football. I think this is a game the Bengals have to win, like you mentioned. And I think this is exactly what you're talking about, kind of a Super Bowl hangover, kind of a Super Bowl game for them. And the Bengals, I feel like historically, the series is pretty split, but when Joe Burrow is on his game, he torches that defense historically.
Yeah, call me a conspiracy theorist, but I don't think it's better for the NFL if Joe Burrow and the Bengals miss it. And I think Lamar Jackson and the Ravens are still in a position where they can make the playoffs if they don't get this game. So call me crazy if you see one or two flags go the Bengals' way.